Good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for March 9th, 2023. We'll start with the swing trade portfolio. So we're starting off with Alcoa. This is all on 30-minute charts. So we got a collapsing dragon in Alcoa today. Standard risk. Closed very poorly. We're holding about 3R in Alcoa. Caterpillar, you'll recall we took the exit near the close yesterday. Today we got a collapsing dragon on it, standard risk. Closed right here, so we're holding 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding that one overnight. Cliff, yesterday we had initiated, I guess 2 days ago, took a micro loss and exited near the end of the day. Today, opened the short on the collapsing dragon, holding 2. Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So this was yesterday's initiation on the SSC. I was reading the chart wrong, sorry. And today, that thing was in the money for a while, because it closed here. It was in the money, and then when it broke through, we took the half-hour loss and then stopped and reversed at the collapsing dragon, and that's holding +2. Sorry about that. I can't read my own chart. There we go. CVS, this is one where we had been long, cashed an R win, and let's see, this is today, and that was yesterday. So 2 days ago, we initiated on the gap down, held it overnight. We added a second position yesterday on the break below the dragon. Today, all that did was just sell off harshly, and so we're holding a bunch on CVS. Holding a bunch. If I had to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 on the first one, 4 on the second one. We're +10 on CVS, and you'll recall this is a Godzilla that is collapsing. That one's amazing. Diamonds, we initiated a short intraday weakness on the 3s and then just held it and keeping the swing. That's about +3 on the swing, and the intraday was better. Today was the day, man. Initiated short on Devon. 1, 2, 3, about +4. EA, Electronic Arts. We scratched it yesterday. Today we opened the collapsing dragon, and that's holding 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this was the day of days. This may have been the best day in the market all year. Emerging markets. We'd been stalking. Today was a gap down, and then when it collapsed, initiated. That's +2 on global weakness. Mexico. Scratched. That was after the nice little run up on the COTA 2. It ran up to here, collapsed. We took the scratch, initiated the short, and that's about +2. Brazil. Let's see, we got here. So here was the opening. So we got short when everything collapsed. That didn't panic sell. In fact, it reversed. So we took the -1. It then rolled over, and I initiated the short again. And then this is holding about +2. So this is net +1. Holding that one overnight. Intel, this was the anomaly today. I mean, strange brew here. So yesterday we initiated the SSC around noon, and it closed here yesterday pretty well. I mean, it was basically flat, but it closed pretty well. And then today, the semis, unlike everything else in the market, took off. And 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. That should be bigger. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's +4. And then it rolled over. And this is about where the whole market just fell off the table. And so we were able to get that one for +4. Didn't initiate because I did not want to be long the strongest sector of the day, strongest sector in symbol, because there was everything else that was already horrible. I would rather be short those. So we took the intraday gift. International paper, everything was collapsing. This here's where it opened. It ran up and then broke through the dragon. So we took it with the standard risk, and that paid off. It's testing the belly of the RL10. So if this collapses, that's an instant second position if it breaks below today's low. IYR, same thing. It moved out with the market. Then opened here. We initiated short on the breaking of the RLXD, and then it collapsed. That's about +2. I mean, just everything was horrible today except semis. This is marijuana. It's below 7, so it's already weak. You know, that's been the key price level at 7. And when this rolled over and broke below the dragon and these collapsing dragons, instant short, 1, 2, about +3. This was PBW Clean Energy. So I looked at the SSC. I let it move a whole risk box. Took the long. It was in the money, almost +2, and I was so busy with the other things, I got out of it with a scratch, and then that became a stop and reverse, and then that's holding 1, 2, 3. So this one was a 0, and it's holding +3. Some of these got to fail big tomorrow. I just got to believe. Rivian was not one of them, though. We tried this speculative long yesterday, and here's where it opened, and it just monkeyed around. And when everything else was collapsing, this was just drifting. So I said, let me just get out of that. Did not take the short because it was not failing in a hurry. It feels like all of the pain and suffering in Rivian happened here. So it's not participating in that downward sell-off. So don't look for that one to be horrible. Just as a point of reference in the S&P today, it had that initial burst up, and then the collapse through the dragon, and then through the belly of the RL10. Look what happens after that key support level breaks. It's an instant drop. That's why we love the collapsing dragon. Collapsing dragon. Numero Hana, number 1. Treasuries, it just stayed out of them. It's drifting in a choppy sideways. Tesla, this was a long we initiated yesterday at the close. That was the speculative move. It started off nice and then collapsed along with everything else. So we took the scratch, stopped and reversed. It fell sharply. This is about +2. It was actually better than the rest of the market, but so I'll look to use that as a bellwether for tomorrow. And then this is U.S. Steel. Same thing, just We after the gap up and sell off, we cashed about a half an hour, got short on principal on the RLXD, and it's about +1. So today may have been we did our whole a year's worth of work today, and since that was kind of a system shock, I'm expecting, pain and suffering to clear the book in the morning. So everybody that's looking at this now that ate the whole day's loss are maybe induced for panic selling, which would drive the gap down tomorrow. So if I see a big gap down and then it starts to stabilize in morning hook, I'm going to be out of these shorts so fast it'll make your head spin, and I'll be looking for morning hooks. If it just drifts down from the open without a gap and it just continuous selling, that would be surprising. But I'll hold the shorts as best I can. So today was a heck of a day for our strategies. All right, sniper trade of the day. I had a, let's see, this is just as a point of reference. This is the standard risk box on this symbol, and then when you multiply that by 10, you get the size of the range stat. So as I just hang that from the peak of that little bump from yesterday, and I think it closed right around here yesterday. So if it opened where it closed and started selling, then the maximum reasonable intraday move is to here for calibration. And then you would run that all the way up to the upside too. So let's get zoomed in so you can see this a little easier. Yeah, so here was the gap down. So I think it closed like here, and then it gapped down to here, and then created this OR3, and it actually started taking off. So we put our standard risk box on, and it failed immediately. So that's a scratch. It then broke below the OR3, so we got short with a standard risk box. That immediately failed for -1. That was a stop and reverse. That's a 2R battle drill add. Another 2R battle drill add. Another 2R battle drill add just before the R stat. The exhaustion exit. I thought for a moment about the SSC, but I said, no, probably not, because 100% of everything except the semis were failing wildly. So I did not think this was an exaggeration in this symbol. So I didn't take that, immediately regretted it. And then that would have been the normal exit. And then that was a close of the day. And that's what Alcoa looked like today. So totaling it up, we get the scratch, we get the -1, and then this one, which exits down here, earns 8R. This is the calibrated risk box right here. This one earns 6, this one earns 3, this one earns 1, and everything is all out right here. This earned 18, -1, 17R. You don't have to catch them all. This is not Pokemon. You don't have to be right. You just cannot stay wrong too long. Now, this is what I want to note. On the worst day in the market, when the market is experiencing the most massive pain and suffering, look how orderly the price action is. So this is a strategy that is giving you the easiest trade on the day when the market is murdering the most people. So this is like being a hyena in Africa, and the Pride Alliance just murdered a bunch of wildebeest And that's the easiest day for hyenas to pick up the scraps in some sense. I don't like hyenas, but they serve a function. So the point I want to make is worst day for the market and all its participants is the easiest and most orderly day for our strategy. In a surprising direction. Not really surprising because we frame in both directions. But you'd have been entitled to believe this thing was going to work from that gap down and looks like a standard morning hook. Yeah, but it'll lead to this. And so, so try the scratch, try the short. It doesn't work. And then you just got to re-enter and just keep firing. Now, I want you to notice that the range stat does kind of an interesting job of finding that maximum reasonable move. So when you look at the maximum excursion away and then the favorable rebound from it, you end up getting something like, fair value being right at the range stat. It's uncanny how that works. And then when we are using that MMRB, minimum manageable risk box, in its 1/10 of the range stat, that gives you wiggle room to frame trades in multiple iterations. So that ain't all bad. Again, the broad market, that this was the head fake, and then news collapsed through that crucial level and closed poorly. That's going to lead to major pain and suffering tomorrow, you can bet. The daily, look, this is the size of the daily range from green line to red line. That's how far, it opened here, briefly went here, then collapsed, and then micro rebound. And most importantly, it took out that support level at 393. And then when we look at the longer term look back, we'll see that, this thing, today, it violated this support level, violated that support level. The next support level down, it made a new 30-day low today. Here's the next support level at the dragon belly at 380. That's another 3%. And then the belly of the RL10 at 377. And if that fails, my friends, the next one is not till you get down here. And then we're all the way back at 360. How fast could it get there? Well, here's how far it moved today. So that's 1, 2. It could get there in 3 days. It did before. That's how far it moves in a couple days. So, not to say it will. And it's hovering right at the 30-day low. If it were to make a nice little recovery, there's a beautiful move just for the intraday range, which is also the peak of the dragon and the peak of the RL10. And then it's got a long ladder of resistance to climb. But that's look at how fast it changes on the collapses versus the grinding up. This is climbing up the steps, falling out the window. Sideways market, sideways volatile. This is the least surprising move. Preparation. This was my brother's work on Alcoa on the 5-minute chart. Standard work, minus 0.4. Immediate reversal below the dragon. Re-entry. Couple 2-hour battle drills and an all-out for 4.4. Standard work. For not very, that's about an hour's worth of work. That wasn't even the fat part of the curve.
That was just the tail end of the Alcoa trade.
Agnieszka. Beautiful work here on the this is the euro pound pair. This support level, when that breaks, notice how sharply it drops. She plays this almost like a descending triangle. Gets short. The risk box was proper. It works in her favor. She gets she gets the exit here for 1.1, re-entry for a scratch, total 1.1 on the 5-minute bars.
Good work.
This is Constantine looking at the Euro Aussie pair on the 3 minutes. He got long at the previous day's low and at the U.S. market open. So it bottomed out at yesterday's low and then essentially a morning hook. So he gets long, cashes, re-enters when the U.S. market opens, crushes for 7.5. His prop trading work is going very well. This stuff works. Woj brings home net 3.5 for the day. Gets most of that out of Devon on the collapse in energy. He was focusing on other symbols, so he doesn't get the routine move in Tesla, but he does get 1.5. U.S. Steel, he was in meetings, and so he does get a micro loss out of this one and a micro gain, I think, there, and no trade at all on NVIDIA. And brings home 3.5 for today. My brothers work at lunchtime. This is Netflix. Short cash for 4.6. Re-entered short, second position, third position, cash. 6.7 today. He did this in 44 minutes in between teaching his nursing classes to the next generation and was 10.7 for the day and no overnight risk. Nothing wrong with that. And PBW, he had a, he had an error on his entry and a stop and reverse. And that cost him 0.1. Second position, it moved against him. He gets out, total 2.1. So, but that's part of his 10.7 for the day.
Yep.
And just quickly just fix errors and then get right.
No time for worrying about it, boys. Just do it.
And let me see here. Get us started on the. Sorry, when I got my little blue screen of death, I had to reopen all the files. And there we go. All right, let's get down to dashboard number 1. Okay, so back into sideways normal. Looking really weak on all the shorter term. Only the longer term has any guts left. We drop into risk off as the risk Z rolls over. Some of the indexes are alerting us, yes, some opportunities to the upside. That's what you get in a sideways market like that, is that you will, just while it feels like the collapse is imminent, it also will say, well, the previous move is strong enough that you see some buy on dip opportunities. Dow Tactical, plenty of auto framers to choose from, some 5DDs that are always worthwhile. IBM, 3M, Pfizer. ETFs, also some a handful of auto framers. Agriculture, gold, treasuries were the winners today. Clean energy, the Russell, and marijuana were the big losers. No surprise there. Standard work here for the auto framer and the squeezes. Not many squeezes today because of the size of the range. We'll go right to the charts of interest, and that is King of the Monsters starting to wake up, and this is some enraged work here. Now, it's not every day you're going to see an 11 sigma move. That's a 60% loss overnight in a financial services company in the S&P 500. That vaporized a lot of money. A lot of money. And there's a there's a 6 sigma and a 4 sigma, so there's some amazing moves in the offing, and FIS is just starting that move. Rivian is the only Godzilla in our tactical set. I just want to show you what an 11 sigma move looks like. So we're going to go to the S&P 500, sort by change percentage, negative. There's SIVB. That's what, let me get to the daily chart here. Hold on. If we just look at the daily, that's what he looks like. This thing was trading at 480, around Christmas time, 150 days ago. 150 days ago, that thing was enjoying life at almost 500, and today it's at 100. That's a minus 80% in an S&P 500 company. Yowza. And that's what the gap look. That's the overnight gap. So why do I love the great big mega cap companies and the broad indexes mostly? Because that would really be unusual behavior. That's a enormous haircut there. That's almost a 50% gap right there. Man, brutal. And I don't think that's done with yet, by the way. This is one of those days, if you were looking to pile on the pain and suffering, you could just go to your portfolio of choice, whether it's the S&P 500, sort by percent change, or if you wanted a slightly narrower, like if you wanted the NASDAQ 100, you'd see JD.com Inc. Was off 11.5%. Tesla was off 5%. So Baidu in China was off 7.5%. There's my brother's Netflix. So this is one of those times when you get such an extraordinary move, you might actually be interested in things like Netflix that have made new 30-day lows off a move from 380 to 300. That's a 27% loss. And most importantly, it's going to test these support levels here. And if those break, it's down to here. So Netflix is in a special place reserved for those who don't pray. To me, that's the power of TC 2000, is just how quickly you can find special conditions and start planning for special scenarios on a moment's notice, and have all the information in your pre-configured calculations here that you need to frame trades in a special moment. A couple of my old school long-term supporters have become interested in the combination of options in the TC 2000 bundle, and we made them a very nice package deal to get both of those and to start leveraging the power of options that are geared towards our swing trade strategies. So if you like what we're doing with the 30-minute bars, then that options course just might be for you, and we'll give you a special deal on that if you're interested. Just send me an email. Let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, back over here. When you look at the the S&P special report here, your most volatiles. Now this one's odd. It's on the volatile list because of this, but it was a 0 today, as were Etsy and whatnot. But you can see all the double green painful ones. And the one-day movers, this is where I start my search right now on a day like today, looking for things. Now, so this is sorted by the one-day Z-score. And you wouldn't be wrong by just looking, oh, there's JP Morgan. How bad was he today? A 3 sigma and a 4 sigma move. And his 150-day look back is pretty good at 68.68, but his short-term stuff is horrible. And that's such a big name, that and GE, and there's CVS, so I love being short that, and there's Citibank. So if you just scan down there and look for the first symbol and if that happened to be JP Morgan, you can also kind of quickly go back over in here, get you sorted by symbol. Quickly zero in on JP Morgan. Where you at? Oh, that's the NASDAQ, sorry. So I go to the S&P 500. Give me a quick JP Morgan, HIJ. So that's what this is the 150-day look back. You know that this is going to be absolutely miserable. And why does that matter? Because of this support level and this test. You can tell right away from the one-day bar that his high of the day was here and the low of the day was there. And when you see the low of the day is sitting right on that, the first support level is down here. None of this is going to act as support. That was all just uninterrupted buying with no fear whatsoever. So none of that is going to act as support. Well, that's all, that's 3 and 4 months ago. When this collapse happens, which broke this support, and it's testing this one, watch JP Morgan tomorrow. Watch the pain and suffering in that rascal. And then Citibank was on that list too, right? So we'll just take a quick look at Citi. No better. And while we're here, why not look at Goldman? Okay, we can do that. GS. Miserable. The entire set. Look how symmetrical that thing is. After the sell-off that held support in a COTA 2 and a brilliant run that took out the old previous support, fat, dumb, and happy, it came down to that same level tested, failed, lower highs, worries. It's finding strong support here all the way across. And today it tested it. And that is not comforting. And if this breaks tomorrow, it's all the way back to here. There is no support in there whatsoever. That is open field running, being chased by crocodiles. So I'm going to pretty much blast through the rest of this real quick because you got some work to do to be prepped for tomorrow. Standard sniper work. And again, what I did on this was sort by the greatest reward to risks back to the 10-day high. That will also tell you which ones fell the most. And there's XLF. The whole finance sector has sold off harshly. And again, notice the oddity down in here. NVIDIA, Texas Instruments, and Intel, the anomaly, up 1.77. Now, that was not enough to keep me in the trade. That was that 4-hour gift on the swing. But, man, all of the semis resisted the sell-off better than most. Whereas the metals sold off pretty hard today. 2.67 in U.S. Steel, 3% in Cliff, 6% in Alcoa. Alcoa is my focus tomorrow. I'll also take a look at JP Morgan since we spent that much time talking about him. But tomorrow is going to be a target-rich environment. Don't take shortcuts. Take your shot and be ready to fire. Walk into there with an extra scoop of resilience and a commitment to keep firing. Going to be volatile tomorrow. So use a half-size bullet if you have to. Meanwhile, the lots of winter going on in here. And if it's not in the winter, it's below the zero line in the spring. That's not healthy. XLF at the peak. So that's that finance. And then there's Alcoa, double green. Those are the only two double greens. That's why Alcoa and finance are my focus tomorrow. Double green, maximum pain, lots of volatility. That's all I need. And if you just need to be reminded of what today was like, yikes. Every one of these, every one that's bright red on the 30, that's a new 30-day low that it made. That's how bad those guys are. Led by horribleness in XLF. Led by horribleness in JP Morgan on this side. And that's the anomaly right there, Intel. What? Yeah. Defensive play in gold. Yep. Watch for more pain and suffering out of the formerly strong Brazil. Anyway, target-rich environment tomorrow. Not to put too fine a point on it, but there we are. All right, my friends. I think that's everything we got. Last one up, the trading values. Trading value. Tesla. Intel. Brazil, pretty good. And we've already got the short in marijuana and clean energy, so we're ready to crush it tomorrow. All right, get a good night's sleep and be well prepared for tomorrow. That's everything I got, and we shall see you tomorrow. I should note also, I just sent the Tharp Institute a special deal on our creativity course, the Creativity 101, and that's for all the Infinite Wealth students they had that I'm giving them that course as a gentle introduction to traditional creativity. It's a good course. It'll do no harm. It's not transformational like the Fletcher treatment is, but that's an amazing course. Professor Fletcher earned the Army's 4th highest civilian commendation medal for the work he's done for us on creativity. All of that's embedded in our traders course, and you can't get that anywhere else in the world. I'm telling you, creativity course, hear me now, believe me later. Take good care.